So, good afternoon, my dear students. Today we're going to have another virtual class for Math 6103. This is Calculus 2, and we're going to continue discussing the derivative 1. This is already part 2, no? And this last week we discussed about your part 1, no? But still, this is under module 7. Today is October 27, 2021. Our schedule is 1:10 to 2:40 p.m. So first, we have now the rules for differentiation. In the first section of our topic, we understand the definition of the derivative and computed a couple of derivatives using the definition. In our example, there were a fair amount of work involved in computing the limits, and the functions that we worked with were not complicated. For more complex function, using the definition of the derivative would not would be not enough. Fortunately, there's a collection of formulas and properties that we can use to simplify our task in dealing with complex functions. In this section, the basic properties and formulas will be introduced. So last week we discussed the first derivative and we used the long method. If y is equal to the function of x, and if we're going to compute for the y prime will be is equal to the function x plus h. We're going to replace your x by x plus h, then minus the function of h divided by the function of x divided by h as h approaches to 0. So that's the formula we have used last week. So by this time, we have now our individual formula for different applications of limits. So first, if the derivative of a function is its slope, then for the constant function, the derivative must be 0. So therefore, the derivative of any constant with respect to dx, our answer is 0. Or the derivative of a constant is 0. For example, if y is equal to 3, y prime, or the first derivative, since 3 is constant, the answer is 0. Okay? So that's our first formula. The derivative of constant with respect to dx is always equal to 0. So we have here another applications, no? If we find the derivative with the different quotient, okay? Let's say, for example, the derivative of x squared with respect to dx, okay? So by this time, if we're going to make use the formula that we have before last week, okay, we're going to replace your x by x plus h minus the function of x divided by h. So by this time, we have x squared. We're going to replace by x plus h raised to 2 minus the function of x is equal to x squared, then divided by h as h approaches to 0. So therefore, if we're going to expand this one, you're going to use the formula a plus b raised to 2. So we're going to have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. If we're going to expand this one, we're going to have x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x squared. We're going to simplify it further, collecting like terms. X squared, we're going to cancel. H, we're going to cancel. H squared, we're going to cancel dito. Pero may natirang h pa dito. But if we're going to substitute h approaches to 0, so ito magiging 0 na po siya. So therefore, the first derivative of x squared with respect to dx is equal to 2x. Okay? So next, we have here the derivative of x cubed with respect to dx. Is equal to the limit. We're going to replace your x by x plus h. Okay? Then raised to 3 minus x cubed. So we're going to expand this one using the formula a plus b raised to 3. Okay? The cube will be binomial. We have a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed. Ito na po siya. So we have x cubed plus 3x squared h plus 3x h squared plus h cubed. Okay? So then minus x cubed. So collecting like terms, x cubed we're going to cancel. H cancel. H squared divided by H, may H pa dito. H cubed divided by H, we have H squared. Pero if H approaches to 0, magiging 0 na ito, 0 na rin ito, the answer will be 3x squared. So we have 3x squared. So with this, we can formulate a formula. So pag titignan po natin, we have your x raised to 3. Ang nangyari, multiply natin dito, then ito minus 1. Okay? So this is now our formula. We call this one as your power rule. So saan po galing? Based on our formulation ng mga solutions po dito. So we have our formula, the very common formula for differentiation. We call this one as the power rule. Okay? The derivative of x raised to n with respect to dx is equal to, ang gagawin po natin sa n is ipupunta natin siya sa base. So this is our base, this is our exponent, then i-multiply po natin siya sa base dito, then raised to n minus 1. So if we're going to check that one, our n here is 3. So applying the formula, nx n minus 1, so 3 multiplied by x, so we have 3x raised to 3 minus 1, so we have 3x squared. So dyan galing yung power rule formula. So it says that bring the original exponent down in front and multiplying and then subtracting 1 from the original exponent. So bababa po natin, i-multiply natin, then subtract to the original exponent ng minus 1. Okay? So this is your differential calculus power rule, no? Pero if we're going to have integral calculus, kabaliktaran nung differential. Ang formula po natin doon will be, hindi siya n minus 1, will be n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Okay? So that is integral calculus. If you're going to have u raised to n, or integral, we are giving u raised to n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus constant. That is for the integral. So since you have your differential, we have n minus 1. So this formula is sometimes called the power rule. All we are doing here is bringing the original exponent down in front and multiplying and then subtracting 1 from the original exponent. So there is note there that n should be not equal to 1. Kasi 1 minus 1 will be 0 siya, no? Okay? So depende po yan, no? So note as well that in order to use this formula, n must be a number. It can be a variable. Okay? So dapat number siya, hindi siya x raised to y. Mali po yun, no? Also, note that the base, the x must be a variable. It can be a number. So dapat yung base natin, meron siyang variable po dito. Hindi siya a number. So halimbawa, 2 is squared. So hindi siya pwedeng kunin yun since 2 is constant. Okay? So it can be a number. It will be tempting in some later sections to misuse the power rule when we run in some functions where the exponent is not a number or the base is not a variable. So huwag niyong kakalimutan yung formula na ito dahil pinaka-importante sa differential calculus. Okay? Next, we have your example. Okay? So the function of x is equal to x raised to 4. We're going to get the first derivative or the first function of f with respect to x equal to 4. Ibababa po natin siya. Then, multiply by your base. Then, 4 minus 1, we have 3. So, ganun lang po siya kasimple using the power rule formula. Kasi pag ginamit po natin yung last formula po natin that we're going to replace your x by x plus h minus function of x divided by h, ibig sabihin doon, pag gagawin po natin, we are going to expand x plus h raised to 4. We are going to multiply x plus h 4 times. Medyo mahaba. So that is the long method that we have discussed last week. By this time, by the use of general power formula or power rule formula, we can have a solution or answer immediately. Okay? So if y is equal to x raised to 8, baba mo natin yon, multiply by base, then 8 minus 1 is equal to 7. So that's our answer. So that's the way how we're going to apply your power rule formula. Okay? Next, you have your D, constant multiple rule po siya. The derivative of constant multiplied by u with respect to dx equal to c du all over dx. Okay? So ilalabas natin yung constant. In constant multiple rule, c is any number. We can factor a multiplicative constant out of the derivative if we need to. Okay? So example, the derivative of constant x raised to n with respect to dx equal to constant, then multiply by your n using the power rule, then x raised to n minus 1. Okay? So ginamit pa rin natin yung power rule formula pag may constant sa unahan. So example, the derivative of 7x raised to 5 with respect to dx, okay? 7 is constant, so ilalabas pa natin siya. Ito. Tapos kunin yung derivative nito. Derivative ng u, ito na siya. N, x, n minus 1. Okay? So yung 5, since 5 yung exponent, ito na siya. So we have 5x raised to n minus 1, we have 4. So your answer will be 7 times 5, 35x to the 4th. So that's our answer po. Okay? So next you have your D, sum and difference rules. So the derivative of quantity u plus v with respect to dx equal to, didistribute natin ito, du all over dx plus dv all over dx. So kukunin natin yung formula or derivative ng bawat functions pa natin. So we have u minus v, the same pa rin, pero our operation here is subtraction. So to differentiate a sum or difference, differentiate the individual terms and then put them back together with the appropriate signs. Note as well that this property is not limited to two functions. Okay? Kahit marami yan, no? Walang problema po dyan. Example, okay? Y is equal to x to the fourth plus 12x. So y prime, kunin muna natin ito, no? So this is our exponent, bababa po natin. Then multiply by your base, then 4 minus 1, we have 3. Plus, okay, 12x, okay? X, our exponent here is 1. Okay? So 12 times 1 multiplied by x raised to 1 minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So therefore, x raised to 0 or any number raised to 0, the answer is 1. So 12 times 1, the answer here is still 12 lang po siya. So this is our first derivative. So ganun po kasimple paggamit nung power rule. Kasi pag ginamit natin yung mahabang formula, x plus 4 raised to, or x plus h raised to 4. I-expand natin siyang 4 times. Medyo mahaba po siya. So, mas madali pag meron tayong power rule formula. Next, we have y is equal to x to the fourth minus 2x squared plus 2. Okay? So, dito, this is our first derivative, dy all over dx. Yung dy dx, pareho lang siya sa y prime. We call this one first derivative. So, pwede nyo gamitin ito, pwede nyo ring gamitin ito. Pag lumampas pa ito, halimbawa, kukunin pa natin yung second derivative nito, magkakaroon tayo ng y double prime. Okay, pag y double prime siya, same formula pa rin yung gagamitin po natin. The first derivative or the derivative of the first derivative is what we call the second derivative. So pag kinuha natin yung y double prime nito, so pareho pa rin. 3 times 4 is 12x raised to 3 minus 1 is 2. So therefore, the y double prime is equal to 12x squared. Derivative ng constant is 0 na. Kaya y double prime, 12x squared. Pwede nyo pang kunin yung y triple prime, y to the fourth prime. That is higher derivative na po siya. So dito, x to the fourth, we have 4, x raised to 4 minus 1 is 3. Tapos ito, this one is constant, so 2, bring down natin ito, 2 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2, we have 4. Then x raised to 2 minus 1, we have x raised to 1. Plus 2, derivative ng constant is 0 siya. So therefore, this is now your first derivative. Okay? So you have your example again, no? Find the horizontal tangent of y is equal to x to the fourth minus 2x squared plus 2. Okay? Sabi dito, if we're going to get the first derivative, so 4x cubed, alam nyo kung paano siya nakuha, no? 4x, 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 times 2, we have 4x, 2 minus 1 is 1. Derivative nito is 0. Okay? So dito, find the horizontal tangent. Okay? Horizontal tangent occurs when the slope is equal to 0. Okay? So 4x minus 4x, 4x cubed minus 4x is equal to 0. So if we're going to divide the whole equation by 4, so what's left will be x cubed minus x is equal to 0. Okay? Then after that, we are going to factor this one. X cubed minus x is common. So ito na siya. Okay? So we have natira x squared minus 1, x by x squared, x cubed, x by minus 1 is negative x. And then we're going to find the value. Okay? X squared minus 1 is factorable. The factor there is using the square of b binomial, a squared minus b squared. If we're going to factor that, we have a plus b, a minus b. So if we're going to factor this one, we have x plus 1, x minus 1 is equal to 0. So since we have a third degree equation, then we're going to have 3 possible answers for x. With that, the first one, if we're going to equate into 0, x is equal to 0. X plus 1 is equal to 0, so x will be negative 1. X minus 1 is equal to 0, so x will be positive 1. So these are now the 3 answers for x. Plugging the x values into the original equation, we get y is equal to 2, y is equal to 1, y is equal to positive 1. Okay? So ano ibig sabihin doon? Pag sinobstitute natin itong tatlong value na ito, dito, these are the 3 answers. Okay? So that's our answer. Okay? So, ito yung original equation natin, no? If x is equal to 0, 0 din ito, then 2. Ito na yon. If x is equal to negative 1, substitute natin dito, the answer is positive 1. If x is equal to positive 1, sinubstitute natin dito, ry is equal to 1. Then we're going to plot. The function is even. So we only get 2 horizontal tangent line. So there are 2 possible answers, no? Yung isa, y is equal to 1, y is equal to 1. Ito yung dalawa. Tapos yung isa, y is equal to 2. Ibig sabihin, yung itong dalawa, pinagsama na siya. This sure y is equal to 1, okay? And this sure y is equal to 2. Yun po, no? So we have 2 horizontal lines. Sabi niya dito, horizontal tangent occurs when the slope is 0. Ito siya, no? Slope nito is 0 po siya. Tapos, this is our equation, y is equal to x to the fourth minus 2x squared plus 2. So, paano siya nagkuha? If x is equal to negative 1, y is positive 1. If x is equal to 0, y is equal to 2. If x is positive 1, ry is 1. Kaya nakaroon tayo ng curve na ganito. Since to the fourth equation po siya. Hindi siya straight line, no? Kasi fourth degree na ito. So, this is our figure 8, graph of the 2 horizontal tangent. Okay? So, that's our graph. So, next, the graph of y is equal to 4x to the fourth minus 2x squared plus 2 and its derivative. So, pag kinuha natin yung derivative po niya, ito na magiging graph po niya. dy dx equal to 4x cubed minus 4x. So, this is now your derivative. I-connect po natin siya dito. Then we have 0. And then we have your 1. Okay? So, since we have your d sinusoidal waveform, no? Since we have third degree equation, ito na magiging third degree equations po natin. Ito po siya. So, this is now your graph nung first derivative po natin. This is now the graph of our original equation. Okay? So, next we have another example. Differentiate g which is a function of t, is equal to 2t raised to 6 plus 7t raised to negative 6. Okay, solution. The point of this problem is to make sure that you deal with negative exponent correctly. Okay? So we're going to get the first derivative, kaya meron na tayong g to the first function, or g prime na siya, no? This is a function of t is equal to, okay, 2, this is our constant. Yung 6, bababa po natin, multiply by base, then 6 minus 1, we have 5, plus 7. Then, kung ano yung sign po natin, isasama po rin natin siya, kahit negative siya. So, we have negative 6 raised to, multiply by t, then minus 6 minus 1. So, we have negative 7. So, be careful, no? Minus 6 minus 1, we have negative 7. So, if we're going to simplify it further, here's now the derivative. So, 2 times 6, we have 12t raised to 5 minus 7 times negative 6, no? Dahil plus ito, 7 times negative 6, we have negative 42. And then, t raised to negative 7. So, that is our answer. Okay? So, next we have example number 2, no? Differentiate y is equal to 8z cubed minus 1 all over 3 to the z raised to 5 plus z minus 23. So if we're going to look at our second equation or second function dito, no? Meron tayong division. Pero wala pa tayong division of formula. So solution, now this function, the second term is not correctly set up. For us to use the power rule, the power rule requires that the term be a variable to a power only, and the term must be in the numerator. So prior to differentiating, gagawin po natin, we first need to rewrite the second term into a form that we can deal with. So gagawin po natin dito, okay, dahil sabi niya, yung base po natin, hindi siya variable. Constant po siya, so hindi siya pwede. Yung variable natin nasa denominator, so gagawin po natin, ilalagay po natin siya sa taas. I-simplify po natin. So from our algebra method, 1 all over x is the same as x raised to negative 1. So yun po yung i-apply po natin dito. Okay? So, y will be 8c cubed minus 1 all over 3. So, take note, no? Yung naka-raise to 5 dito, yung z lang po siya. Hindi kasama yung 3. Kaya yung z, siya lang po yung itataas po natin. Maliban lang, pag yung ganito, may open parenthesis dito, tsaka close, tapos lalabas yung 5. Ibig sabihin, pati yung 3, kasama sa raised to 5 using the rule of exponent. Okay? So, since ito lang naka-raised to 5, ito lang po yung iakyat natin, yung variable lang. So, 1 all over z raised to 5 or 1 all over x is the same as x raised to negative 1. Kaya ito magiging z raised to negative 5. Then, plus z minus 23. So, by this time, since we already comply with the requirements in power rule, then we can go now we can get now your first derivative. So now that we've gotten the function rewritten into proper form that allow us use the power rule, we can differentiate the function. So 3 by 8 is 24. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 24z squared. Okay? So plus 5 all over 3. Okay? So negative 5 multiplied by negative 1, the answer is positive 5. Then yung 3, siya pa rin. Okay? So ulitin po natin, no? Negative 5, this is our exponent. Lalagyan natin siya sa base, which is negative 1. So we have positive 5. And then, z raised to minus 5 minus 1. Then we have negative 6. Plus, derivative nito, our exponent is 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. Any number raised to 0 is equivalent to 1. And also for the last term, negative 23, Derivative of constant is 0. So therefore, your y prime is equal to 24 z squared plus 5 all over 3 z raised to 6 plus 1. Kung gusto nyong expressin to in the positive exponent, babalik po natin sa baba. So magiging 5 all over 3 z raised to positive 6. Okay? So naano natin into positive exponent na po siya. So that's our solution. Okay? Next, we have your D multiplication. We already done with addition and subtraction. Next, we have now the division of limit. Multiplications of limit. So if we're going to have your formula, okay, the derivative of u times b with respect to dx is equal to u multiplied by dv all over dx plus v du all over dx. So it's quite confusing, no? Product rule. If the two functions, the function of u and function of b, are differentiable, the derivative exists. Then the product is differentiable. So this is sometimes memorized as the derivative of u times b. At sa multiplication, ito na yung formula po natin. u dv plus v du. Okay? So yun po siya, no? So how are we going to have that one, no? So pag may dalawang functions po ninyo, nag-multiply po tayo, una, kunin natin yung u at value ng v po. Pagkatapos nakuha natin yung u, kunin natin yung du niya, at ito kunin natin yung dv po niya. And after that, we're going to follow this formula. Okay? Kaya sabi dito, let's compute some derivatives using product rule. So medyo mahaba po ito, no? The derivative of x squared plus 3 multiplied by 2x cubed plus 5x with respect to dx. Okay? So therefore, this first function represents your u. This one represents your v. So u times v. Okay? So, doon sa algebra, pwede man natin gamitin yan, no? So, gagawin po natin, we're going to use the FOIL method para i-multiply ito lahat. And then, kunin natin yung first derivative po niya. So, pwede pong gano'n, no? Pero since we have the formula, u dv plus v du. Okay? So, the derivative of u times v. So, answer is u muna. So, this is our u. We have x squared plus 3. And then, this is our v. So, yung b natin, 2x cubed plus 5x. Pagkatapos, kukunin natin yung derivative nito, yung u niya. So, ilalagay po natin siya dito. This is our exponent. So, 2 multiplied by x raised to 2 minus 1. So, we have 2x. So, that's our du. Ito po siya. Okay? Next, ito yung v po natin. Kukunin natin yung dv niya o yung first derivative niya. So, this is our 3. Exponent po natin yon. 3 times 2 is 6. X raised to 3 minus 1 is 2. So, we have 6x squared. Plus, our exponent here is 1. X raised to 1 minus 1 is 0. X raised to 0 is 1. Multiplied by 5, the answer is 5. So, ito na po siya. So, which means this is our u dv plus v du. And after that, we're going to simplify. So, using the FOIL method, no? X squared by 6x squared, 6x to the 4th. X squared by 5,